So fashionably late again because we like to make an entrance. I'm Dennis. This is Megan. We got Alex, Muddy Water Search and Recovery. Tamara.
Tammy's in the background.
And Tamara messaged, and she's going to be a little late coming on tonight, so she may be popping on at any time. But hope you guys have been doing well.
Yeah, everybody, hopefully everybody's been okay with the storms and the weather because it's been a little hectic.
Yeah.
So,
and not going live last Sunday with Memorial Day weekend, it seems like it's been forever again since we've been on here.
Yeah, for sure. So, we are going to discuss the Randy Leach case tonight. I think there's been some people that has reached out and asked to discuss the case again. Hopefully they are in the audience and will be listening or chiming in or making comments. So I guess in a way, you and I had discussed this week that I had spoke with somebody. They gave us some details about some things. They were a neighbor of basically in the realm of the Irwin residence where the party took place. So we had discussed some things. Nothing is going to change anything at this moment. I mean, nothing whatsoever like that. But it was some things to look at and go over because it was some stuff that we hadn't heard before. So, but just in the normal case of Randy Leach, I don't think anything has really changed recently. I don't think there's been any huge breakthroughs, anything like that. It's basically, I hate to use the word stagnant, but it's just nothing is really per se, nothing's come out. There's really no new leads. And I know we've discussed many a times in the past. We discussed kind of the relationship to the Ken McElroy case that happened in Skidmore, Missouri. And, if any of our audience is familiar with that case, it's about a man who was kind of like the town bully. And he basically was stealing animals, stealing equipment. He had done some terrible things to some younger girls, which I probably shouldn't say, But the townspeople had enough of him. And there's been so much stuff going on with, that situation. But I guess the reason I'm bringing it up is the townspeople kind of made a pact that they had had enough of Ken McElroy. And when he came out of the bar and got into his truck, there was people that were going to unalive him. And they did. And there was roughly, I can't remember, 50 to 60 of the townspeople that surrounded this truck when this event took place. And to this day, nobody has ever talked about what they seen. Now, Ken McElroy's wife was in the truck, and she said, well, this person had a gun, this person had a gun, this person had a gun, but nothing ever became of it. Nobody was prosecuted. Nobody served any jail time. And the last time I had ever done any research with that situation, everybody that was ever named in that they're all deceased. They've all died of old age. So I know in the past we've had discussions with the Randy Leach case is why doesn't somebody just say something? Well, somebody had to have seen something. And that's just one of those stories to kind of relate to, that sometimes people will never talk, no matter if there is reward money or you have it on your conscience or something like that. There is just situations where people will never talk about something. And I know we all wish that somebody would say something or, lead us, because I can be honest, and I think, Dennis, you can be honest. We've had a lot of people come and talk to us about stuff. And, we jokingly think, I think of it in a jokingly manner that somebody's paying somebody to mislead us, to steer us away, to make us go down the wrong path. Because any time that we've had basically that situation, we've been able to prove them wrong. We've been able to actually, do research and look at something and say, there's no way this could have happened here. This wasn't here when this happened. This didn't exist, So what's your thoughts on it?
Hey, with what you're saying, there was one in particular that when the information come in, it was so credible coming in that even law enforcement got involved. In fact, there were 2 investigators from Leavenworth County assigned Randy's case to reopen the case again. And once we started digging into it, the information that was given to us was not possible because the layout of the property, the buildings, a well, the drive, nothing was like that in 1988, and it's not like that today. And we were able to eventually debunk that based off of doing our own research into that story. And while we've debunked that particular location, looking at other locations of interest, we did find locations that match that, 2 different locations. So now we got to ask, did this person just lie to us for some reason completely, or were they somewhat truthful and just didn't remember the exact property location? But based on everything we went through with that, it really does seem like we were told a lie from the get-go. I mean, we're still going to follow through on the rest of it, but it really doesn't seem like it's going to lead anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, and that was going to be my follow-up to that situation is through talking, through knowing sites or places of interest, the description that this person gave us really mimicked another person's house that's name has been brought up from time to time. And so we basically, looked at this person's property and basically, we just, I think both of you, I think we all kind of came to the conclusion that maybe this is the place he's talking about, and he was just really confused. He openly did admit to using drugs, if I remember right. This person was a young adult at this time when this happened. And so I could see this person being confused. But I just really have a hard time when we looked at it with this person, and this person seemed so genuine. I mean, I think you felt he was very genuine for a very long time until we just repetitively were ghosted. I think, we had numerous times that you were trying to set up meetings with him to meet, at a McDonald's or something in a public place, open space, something like that, and it was always yeah, yep, let's do it. You know, I can't deal with this no more. And then it was always no answer, and I can't remember. Did he end up changing his phone number, or did the phone number just get shut off? I can't remember, but
He changed.
we basically lost contact with this person. And he's, what has that been? 2 years ago, 2 to 3 years ago.
It's been 3.
So he's been quiet for all these years. So, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I really wonder if anybody truthfully ever saw something. I really don't think anybody's ever going to say anything. I think it'll be Ken McElroy, Skidmore, Missouri type situation where if somebody truthfully saw something, I think they're going to keep quiet forever and ever. Unfortunately, how I believe in the case, I don't, you know, we all have our own thoughts on what happened, where he went, so on and so forth. And there, you know, if anybody has been involved in the Randy Leach case, you know, there's 1,000 different directions that anything and everything could go. I mean, A to Z, 1 to a gazillion, there's a direction. And I see Jen's in the audience. So, I mean, even Jen and the work that she does with her mapping and stuff, I mean, she can back that up by saying, you know, how many different pin drops of locations, you know, that are marked on maps where there was either a sighting, you know, a possible location. There's a reason that, you know, she has put a dot on a map that's a place of interest.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mac has a point here. He says it's most likely been taken to the grave. Yeah. It's so many people from that time frame have already passed on, including multiple names that have come up as possibilities of knowing something.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like all these people want to talk about it, but it's like they're too afraid, or they don't want to be involved anymore. And it's just like, come on, this is ridiculous.
You see, that's why that lead seems so credible to me, because this individual that reached out honestly felt scared and worried.
Yeah.
I was actually on the phone with this person when a deputy showed up to talk to him. And it just felt so credible until we really dug into that and realized that nothing, I mean, I don't think there was a single rock or tree on that property that was what was said would be there.
Like, it's literally been 38 years and people are still afraid and don't want to do anything. It's like, come on. You can't be. I understand if you get threatened or stuff like that, but come on, you can't be afraid forever.
Well, what this guy did have going for him, this person, he threw some names out and he threw some things out. And of course, I'm not going to say it publicly, but some of the stuff that he did tell us, we were able to, what's the word, Dennis? I mean, we could verify that he was in that scene in that time period, hanging out with those people, those different cliques and groups that were in that general area. So he did throw some stuff out there, and that was true. So, and there's one person who's a real oddity in that situation, and we know 100% that that person exists. So,
Wow. You're going to have people just.
so, so, I guess we'll just, we will just keep working on stuff and moving forward. The person that I spoke with the other day, that information, we're going to do a little research on it, see where it goes. They lived in the area of the Irwins, so they had some interesting stuff to tell me. So we're definitely gonna look at that and see what the newest stuff that's come to us could lead us. I don't know if it will lead us anywhere or not to anything, but it's just some information that basically makes you question some things for sure.
Yeah. Jen said, I feel if foul play was involved, I feel like it. Let me try that again. I feel if foul play was involved, I feel like it would have happened away from the party location. I don't feel that many people could be kept quiet that long. I agree with that. Like,
Yeah.
How are all these people not going to say a word after all these years? What were these people threatened with that bad to where they're just so terrified?
See, in going with what she's saying there, the fact that he may have had an accident somewhere, it's still just as strong of a possibility as foul play is at this point.
Yeah.
And that's what's really heartbreaking is after 38 years, there's no definitive direction to lean because there's just no answers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And anytime you think you do find an answer, all it does is brings a dozen new questions.
It does. But I think, some of the stuff will always, I think, I can't say that it makes 100% difference in anything we're doing, but it's just another part of the story that makes you go, oh, well, that was true. Okay, well, now we understand why this was said or why that happened, and it totally makes sense now. Sometimes we get stuff that is so off the wall, that it's just like, why? What? I mean, what in the world would some of these people that have some of these, rumors and theories, and I guess the ones that really get to me are when you listen to other people who do stuff on the Randy Leach case. These people clearly do not spend any amount of time researching it at all. Because if they did and they watched other people's videos, whether they watch ours or they watch ones that Jared did with Adventures with Purpose, years ago, if any of these people would watch anything before they get out there and put their own videos out that are so far out in left field or at somebody else's ball game, getting so much stuff wrong. I mean, I've stepped in and made some comments a few times, and I've basically been, well, who are you and how do you know anything? And I'm like, hey, I'm just watching your video. Just do your homework,
Yeah.
Which is crazy because they're not spewing. How do I say this? They're basically putting out wrong information. So then you have people who do actually do the homework and who do try to do the correct telling of the story and giving details that are informationally and factually correct, versus people that are just spewing anything, because at any given time, anything out there, if you don't read it and then you try to find it again or multiple times to verify if it was ever true. And some of these other YouTubers, and I think I haven't been on TikTok now for almost 3 months because all my stuff got scammed and I lost all of my access to everything I've ever done on TikTok. I haven't been on there, so I haven't been able really to watch anything on TikTok, but just the stuff that's on YouTube that other people are putting out, some of it is just so crazy. It's just so crazy off the wall. Sorry, I was just catching up reading over here in the corner. Mr. McDonald is back in the house. I see. Oh, did you just do that, Dennis?
Yeah.
Or did the StreamYard people watching us do it?
Hoping people will be able to use it. I tried it last live feed and I didn't have any luck getting it going.
Yeah. You could probably put about 5 of them on there if you really wanted to.
Right.
You know, I just, when we look at the bigger picture, you know, like today, Tammy and I we came back from out of town. We had to go pick something up, and we were driving down 7 Highway. We were driving right by Bonner Springs, Edwardsville, and we were passing the old Coleman equipment dealership. So forever and ever and ever, they used to be a Case dealership that sold Case backhoes and skid steers and, you know, stuff. And then over time, they became a Kubota dealership, and then they lost, or they got away from Case and they're all Kubota. But right past there is the bus yard, the bus depot building that they built some years ago. Well, between that and the river, there's a pond. And today when I drove by there, I thought, and I looked at that pond as Tammy and I drove by there, and I thought, never thought about that pond. But why would he be on the south side of the river, you know, over there in Bonner Springs, you know, when supposedly he was going the other way to the west to go home, you know, from where he was at. So yeah, there's so many places that could be searched and checked out and bodies of water, but it just, you know, I know that we have a general area to search. You know, we know the water was really low at that time. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he didn't go off in a body of water in somebody's yard or a pond or somewhere. You know, I could see a body of a water like a pond before I could see the river, because that river, I know there's times throughout the years that people can literally ride 4-wheelers across the river because there's hardly no water in it when it's really, really low. It's very shallow. You know, stuff like that.
You know, Jen put a comment on here. It frustrates me when people cast blame in the people reports when the truth is that there is no evidence to suggest any one person at this point, no matter how questionable past behaviors were. And that is so spot on. And we have seen in these cases people whose lives get literally destroyed because of people accusing them with no evidence, and it turns out that person had nothing to do with it.
Yeah. I mean, there's, there was a lot of fingers pointed at, 3 individual kids at one time. That stuff happened, a couple times, and, they were basically set free. We had talked about the people that were actually in jail, that were in crime and doing stuff. I mean, we've talked about so many people, and, so many other people have talked about those same people and additional people. And it's just one of those things where I guess in my mind, I try to think, what is the most logical, when it comes down to it, what is the most logical thing that possibly could have happened that night? And, one of the things that I hear, and even when I spoke, with this person last week, that we were talking about Randy's case, and even they said to me, they're like, I can't believe the car's never been found. Cars technically just don't go missing. Well, that's not true. I mean, it's quite clear that cars go missing all the time because they end up in rivers. A lot of people don't want to make payments on their vehicles after they buy them, and they have financial hard times. So they'd rather commit insurance fraud, and get rid of them and, get them paid off. But cars get buried, there's so many things.
Jen said it's one thing to say if person A did do something, where could Randy be now, versus it's person A, he, she did it. Byron said, I can't read tonight. As sad as it is to say, I'm leaning toward foul play. The fact that nobody can gain access to the caves has me puzzled.
It's crazy as if I am thinking of the right set of caves. So we used to go there and party in high school. And after I got out of high school, and if I'm thinking of the right ones, there used to be big tall piles of gravel and chat, and we used to take some of the 4-wheelers and we used to go down there and try to climb those piles at night. It was crazy times, but I know something had happened there, and they shut it down. And I think if that is the one that everybody talks about, where they bulldozed the cave entrance at that mining cave place, I think that's the same one that we used to visit, but I can't be 100% sure. But yeah, I mean, unless they were worried about people going in there and trying to look for Randy and going in really deep, because I don't know. I mean, we have so many caves that used to be for cold storage all around the Kansas City metro area. And, thinking on the point of why would the police have it bulldozed? Because if I remember right, is that not what happened, Dennis?
Is
that the story? And I assume Jen could probably comment also on that, with the story with the caves, that I think they went there and they did some searching and then nothing. And then all of a sudden, did Harold not go back with some people after that or something? I'm trying to remember the exact story, but then they went back and it was all bulldozed. It was full of dirt and gravel, and you couldn't get into it no more.
sounds familiar.
It sounds familiar. Jen may be able to shed more light on that.
So was it, basically them doing that so people wouldn't go in and get hurt? People wouldn't go in and get lost because they were thinking Randy might be in there and they were going to trespass and do that? Or is it something worse where you'll hear people say, oh, the police were involved in it? How do you look at it?
And that's where it's so easy to get stuck, because unfortunately you got to look at all options.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. I agree.
Okay. Jen said his father went there with Edwardsville police, but was shut down by Leavenworth, and they said they would search it, and it was closed shortly after. Yeah. That sounds right. Yeah.
And Jen, wasn't it Edwardsville that one of the officers had photographs from within the caves? I remember seeing some photos that was allegedly taken in there, and I want to say it was Edwardsville PD that had taken those.
I think so. And then Max said there was a cave that AWP was run off from.
But there's more to this story with the location, because the caves are, I'm trying to think if the caves are Kansas City, Kansas, Wyandotte County under the Edwardsville, Bonner Springs jurisdiction. I don't remember if it was actually Leavenworth County, but I thought Leavenworth County played a role in it, and jurisdiction wise, I thought they couldn't. There was something goofy about that story.
Yeah, because weren't they like arguing, well, this is our territory, not yours type thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah. Because the one place that I do stuff at all the time, that place on the east side of the street is Kansas City, Kansas. It's Wyandotte County, but the jurisdiction is Edwardsville.
Yeah.
On the west side of the street, it is Leavenworth County, and it's MWSAR's jurisdiction. So they have some goofy dividing lines, but I really thought that place was under, it wasn't Leavenworth County. And I could totally be wrong. If we can find that document, because Edwardsville is not Leavenworth County.
Hmm.
It is Wyandotte County.
Jen said his father took the pics of the entrance, but I don't have proof that they went in. And she also said that Edwardsville was following up on a tip they received, but the location in the case was Leavenworth.
Let's see.
Now, you also had the cave where you had the guy say that he was kidnapped and was held there. He's seen a body in there hanging that may have been Randy. I'm looking at a report right now on a computer that says he later recanted that story. Yet I also have a copy of the polygraph test the guy took, and the guy passed his polygraph stating he saw all of that.
Yes. But that was supposedly, that area was supposedly up near the Linwood area, technically.
Yes.
Correct? It wasn't farther back to the east towards Edwardsville, Bonner Springs, like that. I know some of the people watching might be a little confused. So we have our counties and we have our little cities inside of our counties. And sometimes there's multiple little areas that have different cities that have different jurisdictions. But I really thought that cave deal was something with, I really thought the cave was in the Bonner Springs jurisdiction, and Leavenworth showed up and told them they had to leave or something. I can't remember.
I thought that too.
It was something, because I remember saying, well, how could they do that? How could you, it would, it would be like KCK, Wyandotte County cops coming up to your all's place in Leavenworth and telling Leavenworth, well, we're going to take over. This is our situation now,
Yeah.
So. But maybe I'm confused with Lenape. But isn't Lenape up by Linwood?
Yeah, it's Lenape's just right
Yeah,
outside of Linwood.
It's on 166
Yeah, it's
right
right
down
by
from where the
Linwood.
party took place.
Yeah.
But I don't think Lenape.
Now, Harold did go with Robbie Marble and look around Lenape for an opening to a cave, but they wasn't able to find one.
I'll look up, see if we can figure out.
Yeah, because here's the report from the polygraph showing that he passed his polygraph. But again, polygraphs may kind of point to a direction, but they're not 100% set in stone with the outcomes.
I'm trying to find. Here we go. Yeah, Edwardsville. There's no way Edwardsville's jurisdiction would have ever been over by the caves. Any of it. Because I'm actually looking on the Wyco. It probably will not show up. No, it's not going to. I'm looking at the actual jurisdiction. It's not going to show up at all. Sorry. But yeah, it's there's no way. And I'm sorry, the place that I do work at, the Bonner Springs, is on the east side of the road, KCK, not Edwardsville. And then on the west side of that road is MWSAR, but it's Leavenworth County. So yeah, it definitely, Edwardsville could have never had anything to do with Lenape Cemetery or any of those jurisdictions. It would have had to have been, and let me see if I can actually see Bonner Springs and see what theirs shows, because I know the street where I do stuff at, that is the boundary at least that area. I wish we could have a better view of this. Robert, I'm pretty sure that they did do that. I think. I mean, I wouldn't know why they would not, but anything is possible for sure. But I would presume that calling the hospitals, checking emergency rooms, the next day or two, checking tow lots, stuff like that. I can't read that. I'm going to have to print it off and try to read it.
I don't have any caves.
Byron, I don't per se think there was any like annexation stuff done between the county lines and stuff like that. I mean, growing up, I always remembered it as, all the areas it is today and stuff. It was the same police departments, same counties, stuff like that. It is turning very yellow outside right now.
Ooh.
Look at it. Look at it to the west.
I can't tell. We got curtains. That's not good. Last time it did that, my nieces got caught in a almost tornado.
No, but it's got a yellow tint in the sky.
Ooh.
I know I'm colorblind, but it's not blue and it's not green. Always picking on the handicapped kid. I swear. Never think colorblind would be such a hard. hard thing to deal with. Well, if it's not yellow, then it's pink.
Yes, it's pink.
Okay, Tammy says it's pink. But it's definitely not blue, because blue would be the same color as my shirt. That is not. Okay. We'll be saying that here in about 20 minutes when the sirens are going off.
Right.
So if I all take off carrying the laptop, you know that means the sirens are going off. We're going to the basement.
We'll just go with you.
It'll take us about 10 minutes to get there. Yeah, Byron, they were saying tonight around 9 o'clock it's going to cut loose up here by us. They said on whatever that tornado scale that number 3 is high probability for the right atmospheric stuff to align, and they are scoring us at a 4. So, and I learned that on Max Velocity on his channel on YouTube. Now, 100%, do I understand what that means? Absolutely not.
That's not good, Mac. Don't even know if you have tornado sirens.
Surely everybody's got, well,
A lot of places have them. They just don't seem to work when they're needed.
oh,
Come
ours
to the
don't work.
Midwest,
Right?
we just stand on our porch.
Hey, look at them. I've never seen something all my life when I first moved here. These people just stand out there. I'm running for cover. I'll sit in my basement for 3 hours. One time we had a tornado in Louisiana, and literally my daughter, who is now 25, we sit in the bathtub with the mattress, her twin mattress, over us in the bathtub for like 2 hours. She would be like, "Mama, we're going to get out of here." Oh, poor child. Oh.
You take
Bye,
it easy,
Byron.
Byron.
Bye-bye, Byron.
Oh, mercy.
I've never heard that saying before, Jen. Yeah, I just always growing up here, if the sky turns a yellowish greenish color, you better think about finding a place to go before it gets super nasty out and turns pitch black in the middle of daytime.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, hello, Mr. Holiday. Dennis, someday we should print off all the reports and put it on a big giant Rolodex. You just sit there and spin it.
I guess something like that. They just pull up the one that you need.
Yeah. I will, Brandon. I will definitely tell him you said hello. Well, I would say that Brandon Holiday would know if Lynette Cemetery is Leavenworth County, or is it close enough that it's considered Wyandotte County, depending on where it falls. And the other place, the other chat pile gravel plant place where the caves
I
was,
need to do that.
if that was under Bonner Springs.
He said, I'm pretty sure it's in Leavenworth.
Hello, Mark.
Brandon said the cemeteries in Leavenworth, the caves in Wyandotte.
I don't remember, I don't remember in high school anybody really talking about any caves anywhere that anybody would go and explore, except for that one cave that I went with a friend of mine, and he was skinny enough to get in it. Fortunately, I was not, but there was clear fish swimming in the water inside the cave. They had like hardly no color at all, so pretty odd.
Yeah, no sunlight. You must have it.
Well, looky there, it's the old catfish. Come out from underneath that log. Catfish, Tammy asked how you are feeling. How has your health been?
Watch out, this I don't even have enough here.
Yeah.
Yeah, more downstairs. Anything being built at the house.
And whoa. Sorry, I apologize. I didn't mean to do that. We're glad your health is doing better, Bobby.
Any chance you can get on the Ayers old property up the road and do a magnet search there?
We do have that on our search list to try to get on, but that one we haven't attempted to get permission yet. we wanted to wait until we knew we were going to be in the area before getting permission to get on that. So it didn't set a couple days. We would be able to just get right there and get that done. I know Mark has brought up the heirs property multiple times. And here recently, I've had some other people bring that property up as well. Yeah, I think all of those files are with the other files.
I think the Lee Ayers house that he grew up in, I think it became more, it was talked about a lot more, you know, when everything happened with him and his son. And when all that terrible stuff happened, and it just happened to be on Randy's birthday.
Yeah.
Which was a really crazy, you know, coincidence, if that's all it was.
And that's a tough one because I'm not a real strong believer in coincidences.
Yeah. So Bob's got him a rocking chair for the Green River so he can still fisk and nap.
Yeah, those are with the others. Yeah, as Mark says, just happened to be on his birthday, or he did it on Randy's birthday.
I was told he did it on Randy's birthday. So
For some reason, I kept thinking it was on the day you went missing.
Yeah. And my phone, my new phone, it just does crazy things. Has a mind of its own.
Same.
I didn't know that an iPhone, that there is some little toggle that you can toggle on there, and that if you're having issues with your phone or whatever, you can just shake your phone and it'll cause it to bring up either 911 or like a help screen. And the other day I was in the loader driving across the field, and all of a sudden my phone started dialing 911 on its own. And I looked up and I was like, oh crap. And I grabbed it and hit the button and cut it off. And I'm like, what the heck? So I grabbed it a little later and I shook it again and it went to the screen. And I'm like, what is this thing doing? It was a new phone. And I'm trying to figure out what it's doing. And then all of a sudden I found some thing in the toggle things that basically said that if you're having issues, if you literally shake the phone, it will go to an emergency screen of some sort, something, whatever it was. So I was just like, what in the world?
Jen said Lee could have been overwhelmed with guilt for not taking his keys when he had a chance. The mind is a funny thing when it comes to guilt. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Diana Bond. Hello, Muddy Waters. I hope you can find Randy for Alberta. Yeah.
Well, Diana, you're in good company. Jennifer's put in a lot of work. Brandon Holiday has done some searches, and so far, everybody in the comments tonight has really, really dug into this.
Yeah. Brandon, was Leanne the one that was interviewed? Yes.
Yes. She was the one interviewed on AWP's video. Then she would come up in the comments on our lives multiple times. Then Alex.
I kind of made her upset, and then she disowned us.
Oh, goodness.
And I wasn't trying to be rude or anything like that. I just said my opinion, and she didn't care for it. And I don't know if she felt like I was picking on her or whatever, but we reached out to her some short time later to ask her a question, and she basically told Dennis to go ask me. So she was upset.
Diana said, I've been following Randy's story since it first came out, but his father is with him now in spirit. Yeah, at least they got closure together. Yeah.
Now, with what Mark's saying there, at one point, Leanne had mentioned that there was a horse fence up between the road and the pond, but that there was an area that was open enough that a vehicle could have got through. And I tried to go back on historical imaging to see exactly where the fence was, but it was too blurry going back that far to see it.
And then Brandon, you know, it's strange. Why would she drive all around Linwood to look for his car but not go to his house?
Well, I guess in a way, if you look at that as when did people think that he went missing versus when they did hear that he was missing, so on and so forth, because, looking for him at the party when he was there and then coming back to the car and he's not there and then coming back and then him and the car is gone, to, the next morning when people were getting word. But correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't there some talk about her looking for him driving around at 2 or 3 in the morning? I mean, I could be totally off the wall because, we've discussed a gazillion things.
She said she went to the old bridge and looked for him there and then drove around for quite a while before going home.
Yeah, because of curfew. I don't know.
Yeah, so if somebody had left and you were worried if they made it home, you would think that the first place you might go is just go to the path that this person probably took home and just go by and see if their car's in the driveway. And then if their car wasn't in the driveway, then maybe back travel a path that maybe they could have stopped or gone somewhere or whatnot. So why, when, where, what was the reason? I mean, let's be honest. How many times have we all been somewhere and somebody just gets up and disappears? I mean, we've all been to a party where somebody's been drinking, doing something, and they're just gone all of a sudden. And then, basically, does everybody get up and go search for that person just because they left? No. I mean, I'm sure there are some people that would, but I mean, yeah, I've kind of questioned some of these things, why people did what they did, but.
And Brandon and Mark both have valid points here. And it goes just beyond Leanne, because we've seen it in multiple people from that time frame. In the police report, they say one thing. In another report, they say something else. They go on somebody's live feed, they say something different. They go in comments and say something different. But they do bring up some very interesting questions with that. And also the time frame from the time that she said she left the party to the time frame that she said she walked in her home, because she gave a very detailed, specific, down to the minute time. Yeah. And yet it was like 45 minutes or an hour or something over that time frame that it would have taken to do that.
Yeah.
Now, could it be length of time and not remembering? But when you look at the reports from 1988, they're really off then too. And again, multiple people really off. Yeah, I would, and I'm with Brandon there too. The first thing I would have did was at least drove by the house and see if the car's there. Yeah. Before spending 45 minutes, an hour and a half driving and looking. You would think you would make sure that person is missing before doing that.
Because that's kind of the other thing. Like, I know to a way, it's kind of something that I've always thought was important, but Randy, from what a lot of people say, is he was a good guy. That he did have a curfew. There was times that he would break his curfew, but he was respectful, whatnot. So I always think back that if he had to be home at 12, at midnight or 12:30. In my mind, I always thought, well, he would have had to have been thinking, hey, it's 11:45, it's midnight, I've got to get home. But going back to the party, isn't there reports that people said, oh, he was here at this time, he was walking around at this time? So clearly he was still hanging around. And if she was close friends with Randy, I would think she could possibly know when his curfews were, possibly. So, like what Brandon's saying, in my mind, if she knew that he needed to be home by a certain time and she was that worried, why not just go straight to the source and see if he made it home first, which was what, 6 to 10 minutes to get from the party to his house? Why waste 45 minutes driving around, whatever, 30 minutes, 40 minutes driving around and not going to the place that he should have been going to? So yeah.
I mean, unless he, what happened? Whoops. I mean, unless he had said something to her earlier in the night, like, oh, this and this and this, and I'm not going home, blah, blah, blah. common sense, go check the house first. That's what anybody would do.
And even with all the different stories we've heard, we haven't heard anybody say that.
Yeah.
So why would you not say
Yeah.
that if that's what happened?
Yeah. I mean, like, I think Jen or somebody said it. It's like he had a really close relationship with his parents. Even if he knew he did something wrong, he would still go home. So, I don't know. Yeah. Bye, Alex.
Did the storm get out?
I don't know. He said the sky was looking pretty yellow.
So this comes right back to a comment I made earlier in this live. You know, we get information that we think makes sense and could be an answer, and then it brings about a dozen other questions. And that could be that she was more intoxicated than she let on and just wasn't thinking properly.
Yeah. I mean, we also have to remember this was 30 years ago. And
But then why do people, and this isn't just at her, but multiple people, even 10, 20, 30 years later, they can't share the same story each time they talk about it. Every time it's something different.
yeah. Yeah. Jen said, unless she was more intoxicated than she let on, and wasn't thinking properly. And then Mark said, absolutely mind-boggling that, yeah, I had Randy in my car at 1:30ish and he was messed up. Is not in the police report. I'm sure she has 2 police reports and 1 sheriff and 1 KBI.
And that would have been a big bit of information law enforcement would have needed that night or that day. And I agree, Jen, it probably would leave us all more confused than we are now. So I guess this is where it wraps back around to, you know, I don't think we're going to be able to figure out what exactly happened to Randy until Randy has been found. So this really loops back around to we need to find Randy, and then maybe the rest of these answers will come forward. And Diane, some of those I question too. Jennifer has brought up a good point with that also. You know, you didn't have cell phones back then. People's drinking, there's reported drug use. So I don't think any of the timeline should be looked at as definite, just a rough idea of when things may have happened. Because I probably couldn't even tell you what I was doing yesterday, let alone several years ago. Which, granted, most of these timelines come from the early reports as well. I definitely hear you there, Jennifer. Yeah, he hasn't come back. He messaged me and said it kicked him off.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay, you're leaving me. Okay. Alex hates StreamYard. Alex hates StreamYard.
Ask him if he wants us to resend the link to see if it works.
Alex, do you want us to resend you the link so you can hop back on? Let's see, Jen. Unfortunately, if Randy's found, I feel like it's going to be by accident, like somebody's doing something else and stumbles upon him by accident. Yeah, Jen, parts of me agrees with that wholeheartedly. Let's see. Okay, just 1 second, Alex. I gotta figure out how to do it. Okay, give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Sorry, Alex. I don't know how to do it. I don't know, our computer's being weird.
Starting to sprinkle outside. There you go, Alex. We just got it set.
I had no clue how to do that. Okay. Let's see, what are we going to talk about? All right, good night, Bobby. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with StreamYard. It only works when it wants to. Brandon, I agree with you on that. I just, like I said earlier, I just think that some people just don't want to talk about it, or they're not allowed to talk about it. And I think she's one of them, but I do think she does know. Setting our timer. I don't know, Alex. Maybe you have the child timer, so you only get so much time. Mark, did the Leaches know that Leanne had Randy in the car prior to the AWP interview? I'm not sure on that. I think so, but I'm not sure. And you're welcome, Brandon. Robert, if it could have been an overdose, either way. Oh crap! Sorry about that. Our dog knocked the lamps over. I don't know. I can't see.
Okay.
I am so sorry about that. I don't know. The dog knocked the lamp over, and now we are in the dark.
We'll be right back after these.
Yeah, technical difficulties.
Oh, it's right here. It's right there.
Oh,
It's right there.
I'm sorry, guys.
This doesn't go there.
Blaze knocked the thing over. Everything went dark.
All we need to do
We're
is-
still on.
Yeah.
That plugs in over there.
Oh,
In the wall?
Yeah.
There we go. I am sorry about that. Our dog ran right into the cord, knocked everything over.
Did Alex make it back?
No, he said he's got like a get it. I don't. Heck, move on. All these just came in. I wasn't able to read them yet. This was. This was the last one.
I'm looking.
Okay. Robert said it could have been an overdose. Either way, it would be great for someone he knew. Say something about what happened. Yes. Then Mark, if she was involved, she could easily claim that Ayers threatened her, which is totally possible. He seems a bit nuts. Again, that's a big if. He was passed out in her car with the doors locked in her car as per the AWP interview.
Yeah.
Yeah, because her car, she said it was gray, and then at one time, didn't she say it was brown? So she had two different car colors going on.
And Ponytail says her comments are still not showing up. That is weird because I've checked both on StreamYard and YouTube and nothing's blocked.
Yeah. Yeah, Mark, her car was brown. Let's see. Diana said Leanne should have taken her key or taken the keys if he managed to get back to his car. OD and crashed anywhere. The woods, water could be anywhere. And Brandon seems like there's a central figure here. Yeah.
Definitely a lot of questions and no answers.
Yeah. And Ponytail, are you signed into YouTube? That could be the problem. Get it.
Yeah, 'cause there's been several like each now that Ponytail said that her comments wasn't showing up.
Yeah.
She hasn't commented tonight. She hasn't commented in what, at least a year?
I think so. Yeah.
True.
I guess Alex can't come back.
And Ponytail says yes, she's logged in.
No. I don't know.
Double check this. I'm gonna do this on your computer and see if I can do this.
Yeah. Where'd those go? Mark said, I would like to think if she was involved, it was against her will. She seemed very friendly with Randy. Maybe this Ayers jumped out of the bushes and smashed Randy with the bat because he thought they were cheating because he had asked for the keys earlier. And the rumor about the playing keep away with the keys, and then all of a sudden they turn up. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think that can be ruled out.
Yeah, just like everything else, you can't rule anything out with this case with anything to do with Randy. And Mark said Ayers had the keys the whole time.
Now, was it Lee Ayers in the garage that had Randy's keys?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. He talked about the keys in his own statement. He asked for the keys.
That's right. Yeah, Ponytail, I'm not seeing anything blocked on YouTube. The only people blocked on YouTube, there's 3, and they were the ones that they've been blocked for like 4.5 years or so. But you're not listed on here as blocked. And StreamYard only lets me block anybody who's actually coming on here to join us on a live. It doesn't block off of YouTube. It's just on YouTube that does that.
Alex told her to make a new account.
It's really weird they're not showing up like that.
Like I said, StreamYard only works when it wants to. Apparently, so does YouTube. JB's statement said he asked one classmate about Randy's keys, and that classmate told him to ask another specific one.
And you know, another thing that kind of really strikes me as odd, when you look at the reports that Leanne and Lee both gave to law enforcement back then on what time they came to the party, what time they left, They're very different.
Yeah.
And one even said they did not leave together. The other said they did.
Yeah.
And the one that said they did, then the time frame was like 3 or 4 hours different from the time frames given of when Randy was seen in the car.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Why am I not on the screen? What the heck is this deal?
and,
Okay.
and Jennifer there said that the neighbor said that Lee and Leanne were some of the last to leave. This is why this case gets so frustrating, is because every single detail you get 3 or 4 completely different answers for.
Yeah, this one, it makes my brain hurt trying to decipher and figure out what's what.
And there's so many different answers for everything that we can't really just pick one and say this is it.
Yeah. Joanne, Alex, you're the invisible man.
I guess I have no idea why my thing is not coming up. Just the back screen.
I will agree with you, Mark, there. He is, to do that, is a brutal and evil person. And, you know, there's no doubt that he did that.
You are absolutely right, Mark. And I knew Lee in school. Now, to say in high school, I mean, by all means, he never did nothing mean or negative to me, but you are absolutely right. What you said is what he did. It was a very tragic and terrible thing. And you know, the other terrible thing is how many other people could have been hurt in that situation. So Brandon, are you talking about Lee Ayers, who his girlfriend was at that time, or is that what you're asking? Well, I think at that time his girlfriend was Leanne, but I do know at some other point from another story from another person, which I will not name names, but I know at one time Lee had gone out with another girl and another couple, and he was not with Leanne. And I would say it was, I'm not for sure if it was that year, that school year or not, but I think it was. Because I know there was some crazy. Well, I shouldn't say crazy. I know that some people. I still can't figure out why I'm not on the screen here. Why my picture is not coming up? I swear.
Oh no.
There's something else we can use besides StreamYard. How about some cans and some strings? Something.
You might be too far back from your camera, and the background's overriding you.
I can, bro. I can see the shine on your head right now.
That don't take much though.
Maybe
I am close to the screen, and I don't know why it's not working.
I don't know. Maybe turn your background off. Can he do? I don't know.
I don't know. I forgot where I was going before we said that. I really did. But the fact is I don't know if he was like, if they were dating serious or if they just were friends that were hanging out. I really don't know.
Alex, Jen said, is your camera off and that's your default image?
No, it's on.
No.
But you know what's crazy is I'm on, but up in the corner, it's telling me to log in.
That is weird.
I'm telling you, just like last time, it said access denied and it had all that stuff. And I'm like, what in the heck? What does all this crap mean? I was like, what is the deal with it?
This doesn't like you. Refresh.
And Jennifer, James from Echo Divers has flown his drone over many of the ponds around that area. Do you know if he's had his drone over the Ayers pond? Okay, and here Mark said that Leanne did say that she did drive by Randy's house and could not see up the driveway to see if the car was there. And you know, their house, I can definitely see where from the road you're not going to be able to see up in there.
Yeah.
At least clear enough to see a vehicle.
And Alex, Jen said, is your camera flipped on your phone?
I'm on my laptop.
Oh, well then no.
Yeah.
Yes, he told me that he did fly over the Ayers pond.
Do you know if he was able to see how deep it was, if he was able to see down into it pretty well? I know some ponds he's able to see down in enough to know there's nothing coming up from the bottom, but others it's too deep. Yeah, I agree. Magnet and sonar is conclusive.
Some parts he could not rule out.
Okay.
Maybe it's our fault then.
It wouldn't be, or he wouldn't be up on here now.
Oh, well, yeah. Because the camera thing did pop up on the screen, but it came right back. Like the camera where the camera's off. It did.
I know on my side tonight, you guys have been freezing up like crazy. Like literally, I'll sit there and I'll be like, okay, did it stop? But I'll look at the timer and the timer's counting off, and then all of a sudden you guys will start moving. So
Yeah,
I don't know. So I mean, just listening to what everybody's been saying, I mean, and by all means, I'm not pointing fingers at Leanne. I'm just asking the question: is there people in the audience tonight that think that Leanne knows more than what she has discussed all these years? Whether she's been on YouTube shows, she's been on Facebook chats, you know, she's been interviewed. I mean, what is everybody's opinion? And like I said earlier, you know, we were having, it wasn't a heated discussion at all, but she had made some comments, and you know, I had a rebuttal comment, and I didn't call her out. I didn't say, I wasn't trying to be rude or anything like that to her, but I disagree. My disagreement in what I said upset her, and she has basically been gone. And that's been like a year and a half, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a while, and we honestly reached out to her to ask her a question at one point, and she got mad and told Dennis to ask me
Yeah,
instead
she
of
said, ask Alex. He seems to know it all.
yeah. And I mean, by all means, I never meant it to be anything bad towards her. It's just, I just disagreed. You know, we all can sit here and agree and disagree about topics and discussions when it comes to Randy, but
Yeah, there's none of us going to agree on everything. But I do agree with Jennifer there, though. She says she thinks Leanne may know less than what she stated. And that's kind of where I am. But I could also see where she could still know something that she didn't say. And I don't know why you would add to or make up something with something like this.
Like what Max said, I don't think she's directly involved, but I think she knows more.
And I think Mark's got a good point there too. You know, with what, you know, we know for a fact that Ayers did, it is very possible that Mark could be onto something there too.
Yeah.
And if that's what it was, hopefully, with him not being a threat to her no more, hopefully she would go to law enforcement or somebody and explain it out.
But at that point, if there was really something that he had said or done, why? I mean, wouldn't I mean, why in the world, if she was hiding, afraid to say something, and with him being gone, I mean, you know, and of course, if there's other people, but if Lee truly had something to do with Randy and Leanne knew about it, then Lee's gone. Why wouldn't she have said something now, unless everybody would turn everything around on her and blah, 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 because now it's her word against a deceased person's word. So
the house being a scam, do you mean the fire?
Mark, because she would have the shame of staying quiet.
That's a good point too.
Yeah.
It's like I see both sides of this, and both sides have a really strong point.
They were not even the owners.
Are we talking about the Irwin's house?
I think so.
Is that who this help I can't miss 420 aka Pop Tart?
Yeah, I think it's the Irwin house.
And I know who this is, but I'll wait and see if they tell everyone who they are first. I will say it's not Leanne, though.
It's Missy.
It's Missy.
Yeah, Diana, it's been 38 years. Someone needs to talk. Everyone's passing away. Give Alberta some peace. Text.
Oh, my bad. Hi, Brandon.
Did you comment something else? Okay. I'm gonna leave that.
Oh,
Oh.
this one.
I think so.
Is that the one you mean, Brandon? I wholeheartedly think that Leanne knows what happened to Randy and knows where he's at. Just my opinion. And again, I cannot argue against that. I mean, I can't argue against any side of this,
Yeah,
and that's
none of
what's
it.
so unfortunate.
Well, I don't think, I mean, I could be wrong because some of you know, some of you don't know. I have been banned from the majority of all the Randy Leach. Yeah, I've been banned. So there's a lot of pages I'm not allowed on no more. And I mean, and the only reason is because I just was being upfront and honest about things. But I mean, at this point, anything and everything is possible, you know, to think that one way or another, somebody could have had something to do with it. And the thing is I haven't, the only pages that I'm allowed on, or if I see a video on YouTube and I scroll through the comments, because she used to be on a lot of the YouTube stuff, especially when she did the video with AWP and Jared and them. But I haven't seen her login name that she used to go by. Now, that doesn't mean she hasn't used another name, came up with something else. She still watches. I mean, she very well could be in here tonight and watching us. And I mean, it is what it is, but you know.
Yeah, Alex, Diana said, so you've been banned because you hit a nerve. Why are they hiding undercover and you're banned for trying to say the truth?
Hey, I will say this, some of this that Alex has been banned from, he actually pulled in the evidence to back up what he was saying and still come out labeled the bad guy and banned out of it.
Yeah. Well, there was multiple things that happened. And if you have been with us, I used to do a lot of advertising on the digital billboards. And if you ever run up and down I-70, the digital billboards, I was paying for those out of my own pocket on the behalf of Muddy Waters. And I spent a tremendous amount of money. Thousands upon thousands of dollars I was paying for the digital billboards. And one day, somebody on one of the different pages, they were having, it wasn't really a heated discussion, but somebody brought up the digital billboards and that the family with the Leaches, whoever had basically been putting these digital billboards up. And I spoke up and I said, the ones that are in all these locations, which are the only ones that I know about, I said, I'm paying for it. And I'm doing it on behalf of Muddy Waters because this is a case that we're working on. And the family knows that. And we're trying to bring all of the, bring it to everybody's attention. And that company, I had a really good relationship with that advertising company for about, I don't know, probably a good year, Dennis. I mean, I was doing so many cases all across the United States, and we had a case here of a girl that was under the, no, she was 18, I think, when she went missing. And they basically shut everything off and told me I couldn't do it. And I said, well, she's 18. And they said, well, you need to get her mom and dad's permission in order to do this. And I said, she's 18. She's a legal adult. I'm not doing it on the behalf of her, not her parents. But anywho, there was this argument that kind of went down for a little bit about the advertising digital billboards. And next thing I know, I had no access to it. And then there was another one where we had a discussion. Jared was involved, and it was about basically building, in the river, digging up supposed vehicles in the middle of the river. And I was just being upfront and honest. And I'm like, who's going to pay for such a high dollar project? I mean, who's going to pay for permits and try to get permission? And who's going to do all these things in order to be able to gain access to supposedly go in the river and dig up an object that some kind of, what was the thing that they were using in the river called, Dennis?
Magnetometer.
A magnetometer, and they got a hit. I said, for all you know, it's a piece of farm equipment or an old boat. I mean, we have no idea if that's a car or not. And I said, who's going to front all the money to do all this? And after that, I was vanished from that social media site. So, and by all means, I wasn't trying to stir up crap. I was just being realistic about these things and trying to say, well, what about this? Well, who's going to pay for it? Why is other people getting to take, that they're doing it when somebody else is doing it and paying for it out of their own, their pockets. So it was stuff like that. But, it still doesn't stop me from trying to help.
Yeah.
And trying to bring closure. So.
Yeah. Diana said they didn't like that you said the truth. Too bad for them. Maybe the person who complained are involved.
Anytime when something comes up that pushes out anybody who's trying to help, it does raise questions like that.
Mm-hmm. Jen said, wouldn't one need permission of the Army Corps of Engineers to dig the call?
Yeah, and you would need a permit that you are most likely not going to get for something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It would take law enforcement and possibly even a judge getting involved to get a permit for that.
I mean, the thing with the call is there's parts that are certainly super deep. And there's parts, like I said, you can walk across. People used to ride four-wheelers from one side of the river to the other. People would walk across. People used to walk out in the middle and sit in the sandbars and go fishing. I mean, and it was the realistic, factual looking at going out there, building the, I forgot what it's called now, the shoring, do the shoring, pumping the water out, digging it up, you know, the permits, the money, the equipment, you know, doing it out in the middle of the river. Who's going to fit the bill for all of this, you know? It was things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because on here it says you'll need federal, state, and environmental permits to do any digging within the river.
Yeah.
Brandon said 3 years ago he went to search the river in Wyandotte County. He had a drone on him the whole time.
I don't know, Brandon. Maybe you just look suspicious. But no, that would not surprise me one bit right there.
You know, it's always best if you're doing something to document, taking pictures, you know, doing everything to protect yourself, you know, while you're doing something. And of course, you know, you have better eyes above looking down versus looking across. You can always see things constantly different.
And yes, the river constantly changing. So there's hope that if he's in the river, time could uncover it. Yeah, I mean, it's almost an hour by hour change in some areas.
I know there's lots and lots of stuff in the rivers. There's so many stolen cars, boats.
There went Alex again.
Oh, jeez.
Mark says, fact, Lee Ayers had a sick fascination with fire. He lived up the road from the Irwin house when it burned. Leanne said he once told her he wanted to die and that he soaked himself in gasoline and all he had to do was strike a match. And I do remember her saying that, Mark. And I've seen reports from others about Lee having an infatuation with fire.
And Alberta's car catching fire too.
Yeah.
And then Alex, I give up.
Yeah, then the dog crackers going missing. And Alex, that happened fast that time. It wasn't showing refreshing or nothing on here. You were here, you were gone.
Airs burned down the housing complex.
Yeah. And surprisingly, using gasoline or something as an accelerant.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Dunn got banned by Muddy Waters.
Brandon obviously knows what happened. Yep. That is right there in front of us. Kills his own son on Randy's birthday.
And again, I can't argue with what Mark's saying. I mean, he's calling it how it is.
You can't disagree or argue anything when it's involved with Randy. Flanagan Bishop. Just pick a name out of the hat, and there you go. You may as well ban him.
Oh yeah, Alex, you're banned I didn't like how you said that you need a permit for something and that something costs money. Hit the road, buddy. But please comment on here so people know I didn't ban you.
Great, banned again. Flanagan, approving murder, yeah.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts? Oh, hold on a second. Montgomery, approving accessory to murder. Mark, I know we've had conversations about Montgomery, and I can tell you I do have some stuff that come in that's causing us to take another look at some things along with that as well.
Apparently we are freezing up. StreamYard just don't like any of us.
Maybe time for a change.
Yeah. The barrels.
That's part of it, but yes.
Like I said earlier, this whole thing just, my brain is so scrambled from every single thing that goes on with this that I don't even have a theory anymore because it changes constantly. And Missy said there's updates on the Randy Leach on Google. She says very interesting updates.
Okay, I'm gonna. This particular one's not new. I was told this by somebody 5.5 years ago. Right, not surprised.
We're gonna start doing more research. But it is, you've been on here, what, over 2 hours? We are going to have to be shutting this down before too long since we keep freezing and Alex got kicked off. So maybe we hit our time limit.
We're not supposed to have one on here anymore.
Who knows? Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, because he got a point. Don't know if she just misspelled it or here or what.
Hmm.
Because I know I doing a search the other day, there is another case, a Randy Leach missing.
Brandon, thanks for being an honest participant, Mark. Yeah, I mean, nothing. Everybody's sharing their opinion. That's all we can do. We need a stream. I think we're in the same page. Yeah. Ooh, there's 2 new videos. Maybe.
So, what do you say? I know next Sunday we're going to be jumping back into the Angela Hammond case out of Clinton, Missouri. But maybe the Sunday after that, we need to jump back into this case again.
Yeah. It said he could possibly be in the Wakarusa River. There's another theory. Yes, Alex, I agree. Everybody was awesome on here tonight.
Now, the Wakarusa River, if I'm not mistaken, that's the one that Echo Divers did put his kayak in and run sonar. And if I'm not mistaken, that's where that old frame is to that old truck that we had found up there. Because when we went there, we found that old truck frame.
Yeah.
And then in his video, he paddled up to it.
Yeah. Do you have Brandon? Because he's going to approve it.
Yeah, I believe so. I may have, after I got this phone, half of them didn't transfer it. I'm going to check and make sure. Okay, yeah, Brandon has the same number. I had that one.
Yeah, Alex, so if you do another dousing,
That'd be
Chandler's
interesting
up to
too.
Yeah.
You have anything to add?
no. Okay. Echo
Yeah.
Divers use sonar is the river by Eudora. Yeah.
So, guys, next Sunday night we'll be talking about Angela Hammond's case again. And then the Sunday night after, we will come back in on Randy's case. We'll see if Tamara can do some dousing on that one as well. And Jennifer, want to give you an invite too. You're welcome to come up on that live as well. So let me know. So we'll make sure to know to get the link sent over to you. So again, thanks guys for coming on tonight. It's really good to see a lot of you guys. It's been a while, and
Yeah.
good to see that you guys are still focused on finding Randy as well. Let's continue doing what we can, do what we can to bring him home. Let's go next. I'm going to leave that one alone, Mark. But you guys have a good night. Thank you very much for joining us.